it's rare for people to say, okay, line in the sand, I'm done. Like, I'm not going to deal with that anymore. Like, my health, my happiness, all the things is too important, but it is so cool what happens when you do draw the line in the sand and you follow it up with action to make the change that you want. Welcome, everybody, to the first episode of Champagne Social, and you are in luck because this is a very special edition today. We have the entire King family here in studio, full house today. First and foremost, we have my dog, Winston. And he is the first love of my life. He is being very needy right now. We have, second most importantly, we have Zara.
I know where I stand in this equation.
You could not see her. She's being perfect. Winston, can you take some notes, please?
Much better behaved.
Yeah. And we, of course, have my husband, Kenny King, half of the King brothers clothiers, and just an all-around dog dad, parent, co-host to the stars. Yeah, for a father. It's a pleasure to have you. I want to get the elephant out of the room right away. This is not really a boy safe zone, but I'm really grateful to have you here on this very first one, this inaugural podcast, because you are a very important part of this equation here. And it wouldn't be right to do this by myself.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes.
Longtime fan.
Absolutely.
Longtime listener.
Yeah. First time caller.
First time caller, longtime listener. But
hey, Winston.
Winston.
Yeah.
Is
okay. And I want to say, everybody, this is completely my fault. The dogs have been a little needy because we've been gone a lot. And I was like, oh, let's bring them to the studio. And you said,
and what did I say?
I don't think that's a good idea.
That's exactly what I said.
I think they're going to be a little needy. And I said, no, not our dogs.
Ours are perfect.
Ours
Everyone
wouldn't
else's
do that.
Are the ones that are needy.
And look at this little guy. Okay, Winston.
Being a little
sit
much.
Or be seated. You choose, but I invite you to.
I invite you to get away from me.
And what's actually happening is that he's mad. His mic is not set up. His chair is not visible to the camera. He's like, wait, I thought we were doing a podcast.
Yeah,
Where's my
he
mic?
said, you guys told me I was doing a podcast.
Where's my headphones?
What's going on here?
Okay, do you want to sit on my lap?
I don't know if that's a good idea because then she's going to be.
That's so true. See,
this is chaos.
This is chaos.
Absolute chaos at
and
Champagne
it feels right.
Social.
It feels right.
That's right.
But honestly, happy to have you here. Don't worry, guys. This is not going to be a male-dominated space. Quite the opposite.
I'm not the co-host. I'm just here for moral support and also.
Well, don't sell yourself short. You are the co-host today.
Well, sure.
And honestly, you are my emotional support co-host. I forgot my Stanley. You're here for emotional support. Because here's the thing. Podcasting, they don't give you any training. They give you a mic and they say, have fun. And honestly, it's more difficult than one might think.
Yes, it is.
One of my favorite like troll comments that I see on the internet, when there's like a podcast clip that people don't like, they say, wow, podcast equipment is too cheap.
Like anyone can do it?
Yeah, it's too accessible. Yeah. They've made podcast equipment too accessible.
Let's hope there aren't any comments like that on this episode.
There won't be. They're going to be so thrilled for this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of my other favorite like conspiracy theories that I saw, because now there's a lot of podcast clips, especially on TikTok. Mm-hmm. But I saw this girl who kind of blew everyone's spot up. And she's like, there are so many of them who don't actually have a podcast. They set up their mic and a chair and they look this way while a camera is recording them, but it's not actually a podcast.
And for those of you grifters out there who are doing this, I have the cat's out of the bag if you don't actually have your mic plugged in. I follow someone who does that. They pretend to have a podcast and their mic isn't even plugged in. The sound is the echoey room sound,
Oh, geez.
And it's like someone who's like, in a music video, they're playing the guitar, but the guitar's not plugged in. You idiot.
I don't think it's a grifter. That I think congrats on the hustle, like I get the whole, and here I am, loser, actually putting a real podcast out there.
Yeah, I mean, what are we thinking here?
We're just doing way too much. All we have to do is make it look like we have one.
Yeah, that's what we should be doing.
Okay, so this is the first episode, and yes, it is chaotic. Yes, Kenny has a multitude of beverages. My coffee has hit the point where it's no longer good. The ice has melted. And something about me, I don't drink it when it's melted. I really feel like I should have a glass of champagne here, and I don't. And that's truly sad. But this is called Champagne Social because it's for the ladies. We are prioritizing women doing all the things in life, business, social media, content creation, mindset, health, all the things. And I just really want this to be a podcast that's going to keep you company, help you feel not alone. I'm going to catch you guys up on a little bit about me because I have been in business now for 8 years, and there are a lot of lessons that I've learned the hard way that I cannot wait to share with you. We're going to get into that very quickly here. But the biggest thing and like the catalyst for this podcast is that I spent 8 years feeling super alone. And that's just like the real honest truth of it. And this podcast, like the catalyst for it is to create the community I wish I had. And something that I realized really recently is that you have to create the community sometimes. Like you can't just keep waiting for this magical, perfect community to like stumble in your lap. Like sometimes you actually have to create it. So I feel really ready for that. I'm so excited to see what comes from this podcast. And I hope that it is genuinely something people really look forward to and can learn a lot from because I've put 8 years of making stupid mistakes in to teach the girls.
Sure. There's a lot of success wrapped in those 8 years as well. It's not all a bunch of mistakes.
Of course. Self-deprecation is so much more fun.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so girls, we're going to get into how did we get here? Because like I said, I've been in business for 8 years and I want to just kind of breeze through the last 8 years because it really is crazy how recently, I got ahead of myself.
Mm-hmm.
In the last year, I have completely changed not only my life, but my career. Like complete 180 shift, blew it all up, started from scratch. But it's funny because the things that were happening 8 years ago, 7, like all that really has accumulated to where I am now. And so I think it's so important. And I really want to bring you guys along on that journey. And you have been a part of a lot of it.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to have you here so that not only I don't need to talk to myself.
Right.
And
you're going to have to figure out how to talk to yourself.
Of course I am. And yeah. I've never been a solo chatter.
As a podcaster, you got to figure it out.
It's going to be my new profession.
Mm-hmm.
Chat. But no, I'm really excited to have your insight because you were here for a lot of the journey. So rewind, 22 years old, Mads. I had been in nursing school, torture fest. And I want to just tell the nurses out there and teachers. I think teachers should be
right
in this because they have a very, I think, thankless job a lot. But nurses deserve the pillow to always be cold. Cool.
I believe this is this an Irish blessing? May your pillow be cold.
I think their ice to coffee ratio should always be perfect. Never hitting yellow lights. It's always green.
May the lights always stay green.
Absolutely. Their song always coming first up on shuffle.
Absolutely.
Favorite songs.
Yes.
May that avocado always be perfectly ripe.
I love that. May your avocados and your lights stay green.
Yeah.
May your pillow and your ice be cold.
Yeah. And blessings everywhere. Peace and blessings. No, but genuinely nurses, my hero. Seriously. And I thought I could be one. And boy, was I wrong. And we did watch Grey's Anatomy this summer? Mm-hmm. And it was a true...
Which character would you have been? Which chaotic Grey's Anatomy character would have best suited you?
That's a great question.
I love that, actually.
I would have been the intern no one knows because I couldn't hack it.
The intern extra who has no lines.
The intern puking in the corner like on the first day. Like, you've got to be kidding me. I don't think I have enough emotional trauma like in my life to be able to do that.
Yeah.
They all had such baggage. Like, I think that's what keeps you going.
That's the Grey's characters, though.
Right. That's what I mean.
Right.
So I was in nursing school. I was also working a couple jobs. I was supporting myself. I was living on my own in nursing school. And I was the most miserable I've ever been in my life. So
well, yeah, it doesn't sound, there's nothing about that sounds fun.
No. And I think when you are a nurse, you have to feel connected to what you're learning in a sense. And I just was like, I hate it's not how my brain works. Mm-hmm. I just absolutely hated it. So I took that summer after the first year and I was like, I need to really think about this if I actually want to do this and keep going because I had 4 more years because I had to go slow because I was working.
Oh my God.
I couldn't support myself
And
full time in school.
And once you were done with those 4 years, then you actually have to be a nurse.
Right. No, it was like, this is, I think, the easier part. Like, this is
as good as it gets.
Yeah.
Do I like this?
Yeah. This isn't even the job. So I took that summer and just did a lot of deep breathing and like, what do I do? Seriously, what am I going to do? And my sister-in-law got married and they had bought a bunch of their flowers wholesale. They were just going to do them themselves. My sister was going to help. And fun fact, I worked at a flower shop out of high school. And it was my favorite job ever. It was like truly a rom-com, Hallmark movie vibes, working at the flower shop. The ladies there were so sweet. They taught me stuff, design, I would process. And I just loved it. I thought it was so fun. So I had this really soft spot in my heart for floral. But of course, it was not a career thought in my mind of like, oh, I love it so much, I'm going to make it my job.
It's
I didn't want to do a flower shop.
Right.
And I didn't really know any other way to do floral.
Right.
So when the wedding came on my radar, I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to do that. I'll help. So I got to the wedding venue that day. I made all the bouquets, all the arrangements. Let me just tell you, I truly had no idea what I was doing. Like the cojones that I had to just do someone's wedding flowers, like they really did trust me. I will say they turned out really cute. Looking back, it's obviously not how I'd make them now. But the couple was very happy. I got more compliments than I ever have in my life. And bottom line, I had the best day of my life. Like that was the feeling I'd been chasing for years. It was like, oh, so this is what I'm supposed to do with my life. For years, I've been trying to figure out what I'm doing with my life. And this is it.
This is what it feels like when you actually like what you do.
Because up until that point, I'd been serving. I had been a personal trainer. I had been teaching fitness classes. And I felt like there's something more. And I really want to build something great and like cool. Like I had these big dreams, but it was almost like a burden because I was living such a different life than the one I wanted, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So once I was doing the floral, I was like, wait, this is maybe the answer to everything. And the next day I called my parents and I was like, I need to do that. That's I need to do. It wasn't like, should I? It was like, how do I make this happen?
It's happening. We're doing it.
Yeah. And my dad had been a business owner for many years at this point. He's an engineer, had started his own business. And him and my parents did a really good job because they never pushed us to do the 4-year college job thing. They really gave us freedom to kind of figure out what we wanted to do and not feel pressured into a certain path.
Which is really smart and ahead of their time, probably.
I think so. I think they were kind of ahead of their time. And my dad, I think, could see the writing on the wall of like, there's a lot of ways to make money and it's less and less important that you like, it's no longer you have to go to school to have a good career.
Right.
So he really helped me. Both of my parents really encouraged me, but my dad really saw that in me and helped me a lot, like get things off the ground. One of the ways being that he had an office with a warehouse in the back. Now it's an engineering warehouse. We're talking like the least glamorous Instagram-y thing you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah. Let's just say it wasn't a vibe.
Yeah. Let's just say it was a messy engineering warehouse, but I was so grateful.
It was a space to be and to have buckets.
And I couldn't have done floral in any capacity if I wasn't able to use that backspace because something about floral is it takes so much space. And I was in a 1-bedroom apartment. So that was really, I look back so grateful for that. And like before I opened my business, my whole family were sitting at the kitchen table naming the business. Like my mom was the one that named it, came up with it. So just really special to think back on that time where like my whole family was really helping me and encouraging me and empowering me to do this because it felt like a huge deal. Like
it is a huge deal.
Mama didn't raise a quitter. I hated the idea of quitting school, but I knew that this was what I needed to do. Like it was not a question. So it was a crazy time. And I look back super grateful for it. And I kind of hit full steam ahead.
And you're probably looking back also kind of glad that you didn't know what laid ahead.
Oh my God.
Because would you have ever done it? Absolutely not.
I don't know. I mean, maybe yes, But I would have been very scared, very hesitant.
Like
and
just waiting for
that's
what you
like
knew.
business ownership in a
I
nutshell.
know, it is.
Like, thank God you didn't know.
Right?
Also, if you're watching on video, my toes don't have the tan on them that they should. This is looking like an unhealthy level of pale.
She's well. She is well.
I am well. Blood is circulating through my body, but wow, you wouldn't know it by these feet. I am booking a spray tan appointment literally
ASAP.
tomorrow. Okay, so that was in August. By January, I was fully open for biz.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the very first things I did was I launched, and I knew I wanted to make some type of a splash. And it's funny looking back, like my social media mind she was working
Yes.
back then.
Now she will make a splash.
Now she will
on
make a
social
splash.
media.
No, she will. So I thought of like 20 people who had been an integral part of my journey and also who had a lot of followers and were connected, more local influencers. And I made arrangements for them and I dropped them off with a business card at their door. No ask, no nothing. I just wanted them to know about me and hopefully post. There was no ask from them at all, but they all posted on their story and tagged me because they were just so excited to get free flowers.
Yeah.
And that is like lesson number 1. You guys, you have to be able to be generous. If you want to like build your name, you have to give and not give to get. Like you have to be like, put yourself in a position where people feel blessed by you.
Mm-hmm. I do believe, I mean, call it karma, call it whatever, but I do really believe that that's so true. And you do sort of, it's one of those things that I think is underrated. And I will say kudos to young florist Madeline, who had the futuristic mindset to spend the money it was going to take, because it's not, flowers aren't cheap.
No,
they
that
weren't
was
even
a
cheap then.
Scary price tag for
and
me.
I mean, I'm sure it at the very low end was at least hundreds of dollars to spend to do that. And I think so many people who are getting started are, I mean, that whole thing, you got to spend money to make money. It sounds stupid, but it is kind of true. And sometimes you do have to make an investment in yourself. And a lot of people would have been way too scared to do that.
Mm-hmm.
They would have just seen the price tag and said no. Yeah. But you saw past the price tag to what you wanted the price tag to get. And you were already, even before you probably even realized it, taking advantage of what you knew social media was capable of for you.
100%. It's funny looking back, but you do have to be so strategic. And you can't always think bottom line. Obviously be smart, but I knew, okay, I could either spend this money on a big shoot and get photos, which is great. I recommend.
Yeah.
But I decided I'd rather give this to people who have an audience that isn't mine, that I really like. And I also want their audience to know about me. And if they post, then great. Like it was a calculated decision.
Yeah, really smart.
To bless people that I liked and also hope that they saw something in me that they wanted to share. And it really did work. And I'm super, super grateful for that. But I want to tell you guys, I had absolutely zero idea what in the world I was doing. I was not qualified to be a florist. I walked into that wholesaler that first time and I didn't even know what flowers besides a rose were.
You're like, I got rose. Can you please point me to your roses?
Yeah, no, literally.
Which kind of roses? Never mind. I'll figure it out.
I had no idea what I was doing. And my mom came with me to the wholesaler that first time. Nice. And they have like this huge cooler. I walk in, nothing's labeled and nothing is priced. It's like a true free for all. So I walk in there and I'm like pulling things that look cool. And
I'll take some of these.
Yeah, one of these.
Little supermarket sweep.
Yeah, I was. And the salesperson was like, do you know that these are $40 a bunch? I was like, nope.
I do now.
Put them back. Put them back.
What's your return policy?
Yeah. So that was a big lesson. And I ended up learning as I went. That's my philosophy. Learn as you go.
Learn as you go.
You literally have to. You have to start before you're ready. You have to take just messy action. And I have lived that so much. But it's just funny looking back. Like I had literally zero clue what I was doing. But I started to book weddings and I started to get busy. And I think one of the biggest first lessons that I learned was pricing myself well, because I wasn't. I was pricing so terribly, which then meant I was overworking. I was working multiple jobs And one of the first things that you taught me, yes.
I'm all ears.
Yes. Was don't put your wallet in your client's pocket, which
That'll preach.
I always did, because
So
here
many
I
people
was
do.
like living by myself, serving, working with this new business. And I was pricing these weddings for what I would pay, which was like $2. You know, like it's crazy looking back, but I think so many people price themselves based on what they would pay and like the money that they can conceptualize.
Yeah. So many small, not just small businesses, but so many people are stuck there where they're so fixated on their own financial limitations, and they just assume and they project that on their customer, their client. And that's where they're pricing, because they're thinking to themselves, well, I would never spend this amount of money on wedding flowers, so I better price it at a place where it feels palatable to me. Well, you are not doing yourself any favors. Yes, you're probably in underpricing yourself booking that job, but the ultimate price you pay, I mean, you're probably doing weddings that cost you money from doing that.
Oh, for sure. I lost money. For sure.
The problem with being, a wedding florist is you don't really realize what it's costing you until you're paying for it the next year, because you're signing these people and then their weddings next year, and you price them too low even then, and now prices have increased, and it's just a race to the bottom.
Yeah, and I think you have to have some audacity to charge what you need to make, not what you think they're going to pay.
You got to charge what you need to make, and trust that the right people are going to see the value in you, and that the wrong people won't.
Yeah. And that's something you taught me a lot, because I was an island. I was like, TBD, what this is going to look like. I just wanted to book the jobs. And sure, it's good to book jobs, but if you're not making any money, you don't have a business.
Right.
So that's a very short-term strategy. And I learned that the hard way. I was finally starting to cook with gas, and COVID hit.
Bomb, bomb, bomb.
Yeah, please play some sad, dark music.
That is just you
hate to see it.
You hate to see it. And so many people have a story like that, where things were going great. I was feeling really good. I was finally feeling like everything was about to really take off. And then March 2020.
Yeah. And things were finally cooking. And then bad, very bad. So 2020 was the hardest year, I mean, for a lot of us.
So many people. Yeah.
For sure the hardest year of my life and my business. And, being in an event space was a really horrible place to be back then.
Yeah.
Cost of goods went up to the sky. Like I said, I was pricing so beyond low. Like, it was a very, very stressful time. But it was also such a catalyst for the next phase of business. And I did meet you.
Yes, it wasn't all bad in 2020.
I met you in 2020, September.
With
We're coming up on 5 years.
Yeah.
And I feel like truly like that changed my life.
It changed mine too.
Yeah, like in so many ways. And it was really cool because I'd been dating like so many losers. And not losers, but like they weren't.
You gotta kiss a few frogs before you meet your prince.
Kiss, kiss. Yeah. I definitely I was dating, and I wasn't finding the one.
Yeah.
And it was one of those like cliche things of like, I'm done dating. I'm just going to do me.
Yeah.
Just single. I'm just going to be me.
I'm happy with myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just going to focus on myself. And then that's always when it happens, I feel like.
That's what they say. It's when you stop looking that you find them.
It's so stupid because that's not even true. But that is what happened for me. And there's so many great things that happened from meeting you, but you really did help me in my business and in my mindset, because so much of business is like your mindset and your outlook and the way that you see the world and see money and see client relationships. So you really were a huge, dare I say, mentor?
Oh, mentor. I'm
dare
your
I
mentor?
Say, no, I'm going to regret I ever said that.
Well, I'm not going to lie. As your mentor, that's what I'm going to start leading everything. As your mentor, would you mind picking this up from the store as your mentor?
Absolutely not.
You're going to rue the day you said that.
You were instrumental in a lot of things. And that next year, 2021, I tripled in revenue. Because of what?
Because of your mentor.
Ew.
No, not
we hate that.
I actually didn't know that you tripled in revenue.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's just
That's
say
cool.
she leveled up.
Yeah, you did. And I
really did though.
And I was, starting at that point, that's what I was witnessing. I was obviously not around for the very, very early stages, but over the last handful of years, as things have changed, arguably the most, it's been quite a cool thing to watch. And also there have been a lot of really crazy things and unfortunate things too that have led to some of the changes. But I'm really proud of you, and I'm really proud of what you've learned. And I mean, it's one thing to experience this, and I run a business too, so I understand this in a different way, but it's one thing to go through stuff and get through a year like 2020 and then get to the other side and then be like, okay, let's move on. But it's another thing to really learn and change.
Like implement.
Yeah. A lot, that's what so many people don't implement, but you did. And I've had a front row seat to it. And so kudos to you. I'm really, really proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm just excited about where you're at right now, because I feel like you deserve it.
Oh, thank you, babe. That's sweet. And I think like all of that, it's crazy. All of the things that happened in the last literally 8 years equip me to be here now and like experience the growth I'm experiencing now, which, spoiler alert, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Right.
So 2021, huge year, great year, crazy busy year. And I moved into my first studio, which was a very exciting thing, huge thing, scary thing to have overhead. Just scary. And that was kind of, let's like cue the dark music again, because that is when things really started to shift again in a different way, in a not so good way.
Right.
I was like 6 months into having the studio. I started getting sick like every month. Something new. Flu, cold, like all these things that I'd never experienced, and definitely not in that closeness.
Yeah, just back to back to back to back.
All the time. So I went to a natural doctor. We did a blood panel and my liver enzymes were high. So that was my first blood draw though, and they didn't really have anything to compare it to.
And listen, as a mentor.
Oh my God.
If I could, but seriously, I really wish we all get your blood drawn when you're healthy, so you actually have a baseline.
Yeah, get it taken. Like get a baseline, and then at least once a year.
I wish I would have done that, because
just
I
be
was
checking in.
But you had nothing to compare it to.
No.
And if you would have had stats,
yep, it would have been super helpful.
Been very, very helpful.
So we started implementing some things, some changes, and they're like, come back in and 3-6 months, whatever, we'll do it again. So I'm trucking along. I then start to get more sick. But the thing about floral, when doing weddings, is that you have a busy season. So from like April, May to October, you are very busy. You're with floral a lot. And then when winter hits, you're not. So I was feeling sick, but then come winter, I'm like, oh, I'm feeling better. Everything's fine. So then come that next spring, I had tripled my revenue again. She was growing.
You were doing great.
Yeah.
It was really cool to watch.
And I felt really, really great. Like it felt like, okay, finally, like this is what I've been working for, dreaming for, praying for, like we're cooking with gas finally. But my health was like getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So I'm back in the natural doctor. The liver enzymes are still high. And we sit down and she's like, what toxins are you around? I'm like, toxins? Like nothing. I'm like, I eat super healthy. I drink a little, not a lot. That reminds me of the Ellen DeGeneres show, the lady who called in. I love Jesus, but I drink a little.
Listen, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I love Jesus, but I drink a little.
It's not ringing a bell.
Oh my gosh. If anyone knows that, please let me know below. Okay, so she's listing off all these crazy things. I'm like, none of that. And she's like, pesticides, insecticides, anything. And I'm like, no. And then I think we all paused because they knew I was a florist. She's like, what about like on your flowers? And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm sure there's something on there.
Probably.
She's like, do you ever smell anything? I was like, I mean, I guess maybe now that you mention it. And so she's like, I'm really curious if it's the flowers. This was like someone just blew my mind, literally.
Something you don't really think about.
Something you do not think about. So I leave there. I Google florist health pesticides. And I see this study, thank God for Belgium. It was out of Belgium.
Okay.
The US isn't doing it. Europe is always just like so ahead of them.
I know. And they're so much more checked into health in general,
they
and
are.
they're just doing it so much better.
They are. So there's a study. They tested a florist gloves after a day. And there were, I think it was 117 pesticidal substances on the florist gloves. And I think it was over 70 passed through their urine. Like they'd actually like absorbed and passed it
Ingested
through.
somehow? Oh my gosh.
Well, yeah, like when you're touching it and breathing it in, it's
in your
yeah,
body?
yeah. And it was saying how the biggest way that pesticides are absorbed is dermally. So really important context. No one in the floral world that I had seen had talked about the pesticide thing. Like that was not something I ever saw. As florists, we're eating, we're drinking, we're touching our floral. Like there's not like a health conversation about it.
Right. You wouldn't think that there is.
But I'm like, oh my God, I have been poisoning myself for 5.5 years at that point?
It's so crazy because when you think about it, you know, the light bulb moment, it's almost like, duh.
Of course. Yeah.
It makes so much sense, but it's obviously something that you never hear about ever.
I can't even tell you how many people I've told, and they're like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. But no one thinks, I mean, you would never be touching pesticides all day in any capacity.
No.
But floral, for some reason, okay, so context, the farms need to protect their crop, the things that they spend all the money on. So they spray the max amount of pesticides on these flowers because they are being shipped. A lot of them come from South America, for the most part, some across overseas. And they get shipped in and customs goes through them, and the flowers cannot have disease or bugs on them. So, of course, the farms are going to do whatever they can to protect their investment.
Right.
Which means they're spraying the max amount possible. And then here we are touching them, breathing them in all day long, every day with no protection. So that was like the most sobering thing I ever realized, was that I was like allergic at this point. Like I had been poisoning my body. And I will say there's a part of the story we're not going to get into with the studio that was causing me deep sickness as well. So kind of in the night, you and your parents, God bless you guys, moved me out of the old place into a new space. Huge space, big space, huge space.
Bigger than you could have ever needed.
Literally.
Desperate times, though.
Literally. And what's funny is, so when I got this info from the doctor, I was like, well, that's a wrap for me on floral. Hell to the no. I'm done with this.
Yeah. What are you supposed to
Who
do?
cares if I love it? If I'm finally getting traction.
Yeah.
If I feel this way, I'm not going to do it. So I announced a whole announcement. I'm done with floral, blah, 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 health, all the things. Well, then I'm still feeling very sick, and I believe it's in association with the studio, and we're not going to get into that. But like I said, I needed to get out quick. So we find this new studio, like literally the only one available. It was huge, but it had water. It had an easy door. It checked all the boxes of what I needed. So all of a sudden I'm like, what do I do now?
Right.
I was about to be done with floral, and now I have a 3-year lease. Like I need a plan overnight. Like yesterday, I need a business plan for what I'm going to do with this space. So I finished out that year. It was the biggest year of my career, biggest weddings of my career. I had so many team members that were, thank God for them, because I literally couldn't stand up. I couldn't function. I was dizzy. I was nauseous. I had vertigo. I had headaches. I'd walk into a room. I'd have no idea what I was doing there.
And this is not just at work in the flower studio, by the way. This would bring itself home. I remember at one point we were on a trip to New York, and we were just walking down the street. Yeah. And she's like grabbing for my arm. Yeah. And like I can't see anything. Fortunately, we were like right in front of a hotel we often stay at. So we went inside, and she just kind of like laid into the couch, and look, we got some AC, but she would just get these quick bouts of, it was a combo of feeling nauseous and
Vertigo.
dizziness. And it was really strange. And they would just come out of nowhere, and they would also pass pretty quick too, but they were
And
they
I
were
wouldn't
very
say they
frequent.
would fully pass. Like I always
Okay.
felt an undercurrent of like nausea, dizziness, fatigue, but they would get really bad. Where like I couldn't function.
Right. Because I think sometimes, maybe people are listening saying, well, just get away from the flowers and you'll be fine. But it wasn't that simple, because it was in your body, and it was really affecting every aspect of your life, whether you were at work or not. Just
I was,
because
like,
you would
on
sometimes
overload.
be around floral. And
Yeah. My body was completely on overload. And I think there was a few things at play, but the pesticides were a huge thing. And as I have now obviously shared a lot about floral and health and florist health and things to do to mitigate this from happening to people, I've really been trying to have this conversation. But I've heard from hairstylists and nail techs and, people in other industries, because there's a lot of toxic industries. Floral is not the only one. And I think a lot of times our body is like, yeah, we're good. And we're exposing ourselves to the same things over and over. And then all of a sudden your body's like, actually, no, we're done. Like we cannot tolerate that anymore. And I think that's a huge part of what happened to me. But floral was how I made my income.
yeah.
It was the thing I loved, the thing I'd worked my ass off for. Blood, sweat, tears for literally years. I was, I think, 6 years in at this point, 5.5, 6 years. And I didn't want to be done. Like I had this picture in my mind of how I would go out with floral. And it was like, I'm on top. Like I did all the weddings I want to do. I made the revenue I wanted to make. I built the team. Like I wanted to keep seeing this through. And also I had a huge lease that I was basically forced into overnight because it was truly, trust me when I say, the only option. We were not in a house at the time. I needed it in 2 days and we made it happen. But I'm like, what, like literally, what do I do? What do I do? So I started to take less weddings and really try to think about how do I make money with what I know in floral, but not doing as many weddings. And so I followed Bree on Instagram, and she was killing it with digital products. So I started to think, okay, I have actually a lot of expertise in floral. Like I've been doing this so many years. And one of the things I was so intentional about and had put so much time into was design. Like I had progressed so much as a designer because I really worked at it. So I started to think, okay, that would be really great if I could make an additional revenue stream from floral, but not being around floral in the way that I am with weddings. And so I really went down that rabbit hole. This was beginning of 2024, which is crazy. That was a year and a half ago. I went like 10 toes in, standing on business. But I really did. Like I went all in on learning how to create a digital product, sell a digital product, market a digital product. And it's really funny looking back because that is the catalyst to where I'm at now, which is super cool. And I spent so much time and money learning.
It is not for the faint of heart.
What's your take on that stage of business that I was in?
When you're standing on business?
Yeah, when I was standing on business.
My take is
it's
that...
It's not clocking to you?
What?
It's not clocking to you?
It's not clocking to you. I'm standing on business. My take is that, well, first of all, again, sort of like I said earlier, where I'm proud of you for pursuing, spending the money to get the flowers delivered. I'm proud of you because what ended up with the wedding florist, you're working with wedding couples and their wedding's not for a year and a half, 2 years sometimes. So when you're saying you're taking on fewer weddings, that's the money that you're making. And at that point, you didn't have a plan necessarily for how you're going to subsidize that income you weren't earning.
Yeah.
And again, I think most people in your shoes would have been too scared to say, no, I'm not going to take that. And instead, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I've got to figure something out. They would have just fallen back into, okay, fine, I'll take it because it's money and it's better than nothing. But you were putting yourself in a position where you weren't taking the money, so you had to figure something else out.
Yeah.
And I mean, I told you that at the time. I didn't wait for the cameras to roll before I told you I was proud of you.
No, you are very good about it.
But it was something that at the time I was very impressed by and proud of you for doing, because I know most people wouldn't do that. But you did it, and it was hard. But when you were working through the whole digital product thing, I couldn't believe all of the time, money, the different aspects of that. I mean, I think people think, oh, how hard could it be to do that? And yes, I know there are some people throwing, courses and PDFs out there, and it's,
copy and pasting
copy paste ChatGPT. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially now it's, people, there's a lot more shortcuts to take.
Yeah.
And
don't do it because it's not going to work the way that you want it to. Like, you have to do it very intentionally and personally for it to actually work. I couldn't
believe though how much work it was, and the products that you ended up coming out with were excellent and ended up helping and still help so many florists achieve that design. I know that it was you were creating something that you wish you would have had access to as a florist.
1,000,000%. And I think that's an important thing to say. If you are going to put anything out there on social media, in a course, in a program, in a product, serve. Like, truly, it has to serve. And a lot of times I think it serves a previous version of you. I think that's one of the best products, podcasts, anything that you can create, serving a previous version of you.
And that's what they say about therapy too. You go to therapy to become the person you could have used back in the day.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, which is really sweet. But that's what you were doing.
It really was, because I, like you guys just heard, I had no idea what I was doing, and I didn't have anyone I was learning from. There weren't that many people giving advice, especially on floral and design. So my true intention was, I want to help florists as much as I can, because I'm in this position now where I need this to be a thing that I'm doing. So it really was cool. I wouldn't have gone the digital product route if everything was just cooking with firing on all cylinders. Everything's hunky-dory over here with floral and weddings and all that. But it just pushed me into a completely different avenue, which ended up changing my life. And I want to thank you, because we kind of breeze over the fact that you were a TV anchor for many years.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. One of my favorite party tricks is that Kenny can do an incredible TV anchor voice.
Do you want me to do it right now?
Would you honor our listeners?
Good morning, everyone. Time right now, 2:45. It's the 13th and beautiful sunshiny day out there. Don't forget to put on that SPF, slip, slop, and slap.
Ew! Get out of this podcast room.
Goodbye.
Wow, it was going so well.
I'm jumping out the window.
What the hell was that?
Slip, slop, and slap? You don't remember that?
No.
Slip on a hat? No. Slip on.
Are you okay?
It's for protecting yourself from the sun.
Oh my gosh.
Slip, slop, and slap.
I thought you made that up on the fly.
Slip on a shirt, slap on some sunscreen, and slap on a hat.
Oh my God.
That's what we learned in elementary school.
Wow.
You've never heard that?
Never in my life.
Sometimes our age gap, I'm 7.5 years older than Madeline. Sometimes our age gap shows. And this would be an example of one of those times. Yeah. You
How old you are.
I know.
No.
That's unfortunate.
Well,
I'm sure some people listening are like, absolutely. Don't forget to
whoever's
slip, slop,
tuning
and slap.
into the news knows exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's the
news
demographic.
Viewers know. The real ones know.
Oh my gosh. Well, you're welcome, everybody. And that's one of my favorite party tricks ever. But because of your history as an anchor and in broadcasting, you were so good at the video, the light, the sound. You almost took it too seriously.
We didn't half-ass the video aspect of your course for sure.
We only got into a couple arguments.
Yeah.
Getting that thing up.
I take my gear very seriously.
Yeah, the gear. This is not fun and games around here.
No, this is not for fun. This is for business.
This is not for fun.
I'm standing on business.
So all that to say, we killed it with the products and they started to work.
Yeah.
And I got in a mentorship group for the first time in my life. I was in a mentorship group because I'm like, I'm taking this super seriously. And I'm a firm believer that you have to invest in yourself and in your goals. Because yes, you can do it on your own. But I think my previous now 7 years in business is very clear. I could have accelerated that timetable quite a bit. You don't need to learn it all the hard way by yourself. Like in 2025, invest in your growth and the people that are already doing the thing you want to do, right?
Yeah, because there's people out there who are.
And it's one of the smartest things that you can do is like find the person who's doing the thing you want to do that you trust, that is a good teacher, and get in that room with them.
Yeah.
So I did that. I started to make money. And my plan was I'm going to do some weddings and have these courses and it's going to be great. Good.
Easy.
We're good.
What could go wrong?
And I remember January of last year crying because I was like, I just feel like I'm forced into floral. And like knowing how hard it's been on my body and all the things I've gone through. And floral is a very stressful job. We don't need to get into it, but I had been in fight or flight for years. And like, I just always felt like, okay, my big break and like, it's going to get better. And it was like, wait, like, is this just isn't going to get better. Like, this is just what it is now. And I was struggling so much with that, but it was like one foot in front of the other. I have this lease. I have this new business. I had done a rebrand, like this whole thing. I just felt like I have to be in this. I have to. So I do another year of floral and I was feeling pretty good. This was a year ago. And then shit hit the fan again. I started to feel worse and worse and worse. And this time it was all floral. And I genuinely was like depressed because I couldn't function again. And I just was so tired. This was now 3 years of dealing with life impacting health issues from my job.
I think we got to point out for people listening who aren't super familiar with the way that this feels and what happens in the body, it isn't as simple as like, well, just stay away from flowers, because your body then becomes even more and more sensitive. It's the same with mold. If you had long exposure, all of a sudden your body is that much more sensitive. I remember when we went to the Galleria Mall for dinner.
Oh my gosh.
And it was in the springtime and it was during their flower show, and it's beautiful. But we walked into the mall and we were probably in there. We were going to go to Williams-Sonoma first for something. And we walked in and we were walking to Williams-Sonoma. And Madeline's like, again, sort of reaching for me. Like, I'm getting so dizzy. I can hardly stand. I feel like I'm going to puke, but also I feel like I'm going to pass out. And she was having all of the same symptoms. And it was within 5 minutes of just being around flowers in a springtime floral sense. It wasn't that she was, working on them for a wedding. We were just kind of close to them.
It was crazy.
And it happened so fast. And that's what ends up happening with the body. And that's what you were still dealing with. Yeah.
It's like I had just built up this really extreme sensitivity.
Crazy sensitivity that just even being close to them was setting your body on a total downward spiral.
Yeah. And I think there were multiple moments last year where it was like, how can I keep doing this? Like, how?
Even when we would film the courses.
Yeah.
It was, I
would need to take a seat.
We'd have to cut, and she'd be like feeling also physically like, kind of coughing, and we'd have to open all the windows. It's like the winter and we have all the windows open to try to get some airflow through. But, the courses were great and you were making money from them, but you're also thinking, this also can't be the future for me, doing courses that are also still poisoning me.
Yeah, it was just such a horrible place to be. And the thing with floral, like we said, is you're booking in advance. So I started to book very little. I started to price myself even higher because I'm like, if I'm taking a job, it needs to be significant. And I then end my weddings from last year in October, and I'm like, oh, phew, finally I have like a long break, and I can I can reassess, figure out kind of how to move forward with floral. And I started to feel better and better and better as the weeks went by. Well, in December, I was like, I'm going to go make some floral, film it, this whole thing. Because also really cool, through this whole journey, I had grown a big following on social media, like through the courses and through getting super clear on who I was talking to and the audience that I was serving. I had grown 8,000 plus followers in a year. So I was like, this is working and this is really cool. And now I need to nurture this and continue to do this. So I wanted to film something with floral. So it was December. I went in and and I'd been feeling good for weeks now. Like I didn't have any dizzy spells or nausea or whatever. And like clockwork, I'm in the studio and I'm like, I am going to pass out. So I get home that day and I started crying to you. And I was like, I do not know how I can do this anymore.
I remember that. You didn't say that. You said, I can't do this anymore. And that's why you were crying, because I think it was the first time you'd ever said it.
That's true.
And it was the first time, I think you'd admitted it to yourself probably, but it was the first time you were ever actually saying the words. And I think it just really was emotional. Of course, it's like everything you ever worked for, and you're just finally saying enough is enough.
It felt like a funeral, honestly. Like it just felt like so, like the thing I'd been avoiding for 3 years at that point, it felt like inevitable. Like I can't, how can I do this? And I was just crying because it felt like this is not how I wanted to go out. This is the thing I've been loving and worked so hard at. But it was really crazy because I feel like through that conversation, I actually felt so much better. It was like a huge weight lifted of like, I'm not going to keep forcing this. Like there's definitely something better out there for me. I cannot keep feeling this way for my career. So through that, I announced I'm done. I go down, and I had been trying to sublease my place. And at that point, we had figured out a subleaser.
Yeah, I think so.
And that happened the end of the year. It was like a beautiful transition.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So it felt like, okay, clean break. I can kind of walk away from this. I had 5 weddings booked for 2025. And it was like, okay, now what do I do with my life?
Now what?
Literally, I got out a pen and a piece of paper and I wrote down some ideas.
What were
things
the
I
ideas?
thought, like interior designer, I thought would be fun.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you would be good at that. Design, it's similar.
Yeah, design.
Skill set.
I wanted something like creative.
Yeah.
Social media was obviously a big one. I don't even remember what else it was. I genuinely don't. Because social media quickly became the front runner because something so cool, like I said, as I was really pursuing digital products and growing on social media, I was like so in on social media and I was working so hard and spending so much time learning it and implementing. And I was practicing with my personal brand, which is a whole different ballgame, business, personal brand. And so it just became this thing I was like obsessed with. Like I absolutely loved it. And so that became the front runner, the thing that I wanted to do. But then, imposter syndrome creeps in.
As it does. Yeah.
Who am I to start a business in something that I've never done before? But I think it was you. I'm sure it was you that was like, actually, you know how to do all this. It's just you were doing it in a different capacity.
Yeah. I mean, as a small business owner, you actually are a social media manager for yourself.
I had marketed my business for 8 years. I had built a great business.
You'd made hundreds of thousands of dollars simply from
social media.
Your social media.
And then I had built an entirely different revenue stream and grown on social media. I had found my ideal brand, client, like all the things I actually had done. It's so funny. I wasn't giving myself credit.
You don't think about it in the exact same way, but you had already actually figured all that out.
And then I put my money where my mouth was. I went through a couple social media manager courses and programs because I was like, I want to do this well. Like at this point in my life, I'm almost 30 years old. And if I'm starting from scratch, and one thing about me, I don't half-ass shit. I'm like all the way in, standing on business.
She's standing on business.
I wish that could be the name of the podcast.
I think it should be. I was going to say the name of the episode.
Yeah, the episode.
This one's She's Standing on Business.
Oh my gosh. We'll see if Brienne and the team like that.
I have a feeling they won't.
They won't. That's not going to be the winner. And so I wanted this to be really, really good. I didn't want to start and, a couple years in is like, okay, now I'm going to have the business I want. I wanted it to be like, I am creating the business I want and that I deserve to have, working with the people that I want to work with. Like, I want this to be really, really good. And yes, I could have gone and worked for someone or freelance, but I didn't want to do that because it's not fair to that owner.
Right.
Because all I'm doing is learning how you do it and then I'm going to go do it myself. And I did not feel good about that. I would so much rather immerse myself and implement and learn as I go. So I decided in, I think it was like February, officially that I was going to do social media. People heard through the grapevine that I was going to do that. And 3 people hired me before I even had a business name, which was really great. Like that is a huge takeaway too. Like work for cheap, work for free, get experience because that helped me so much to actually do the job before I was in business. It really helped me a lot. I was also doing all the business setup and branding and packages. Like there was just oh my gosh.
Making you choked up.
No, I'm a podcaster. My podcaster voice is kicking in.
Would you like a sip of the San Pellegrino?
My sticky shoes. Smelly cat, smelly cat. What are they feeding you?
We rewatched Friends this month, or when was it?
Last month.
This spring.
Last month,
This
yeah.
spring we rewatched it. And
Oh, so good.
very top of mind.
So good. Well, I just had my little Phoebe Buffet moment there.
That's right.
I lost my train of thought again. Is this what life as a podcaster is?
It's tough to be a podcaster.
Hoarse voices and you're losing your train of thought left, right, and center.
Probably. You were saying.
I was just getting everything going. Like I
Yes,
literally
you did
wasted
everything.
no time because I knew, okay, I have my first, okay, so I had 5 weddings. I had my first wedding in May. So I knew I needed to have everything with social ready to go by the time my first wedding is here, because then I'm going to be focused on weddings. And I had spaced out, but it was like 5 weddings within 2 months' time. So it was a difficult balance. Now, the other thing that was a little scary, or a lot scary, was I had gotten rid of my old space, but I had 5 weddings that I needed a space for. And it became, what space am I having? What commitment am I making? And how? Because my business wasn't existing yet for social. I certainly didn't need a space, but I also needed a space for floral. So if I'm getting a space for floral, I might as well be able to work there for social.
And we did try to do it out of the basement, which was a big fail. You had one thing that you agreed to do over the winter as a sort of a trial run.
Huge fail.
And that's not going to work.
I was in the worst mood ever those few days. Like we had baby's breath scattered around. It was so bad. Like,
yeah, it was a mess.
I'm too much of a clean freak to have floral in the home.
Well, and right. And it wasn't even just about, oh, it's messy, boo-hoo. It was just not going to work to do it out of the house. And that was a smaller event. You're thinking about the bigger weddings coming up. It's not possible. It's not going to work.
So I needed a space. And this space that we're currently in right now, I walked in and I loved it. It's in a very great, cool neighborhood of Minneapolis. It gave me like butterflies of excitement, and it felt like the new version of Mads, you know? She's going to grow here. It felt like kind of like New York City vibes, which I'm obsessed with New York City. But it was truly terrifying because I didn't want to get in a position where I have this space that I don't need and it's stressful and it's taking all my income.
Yeah, we just got out of that.
We just did
let's
this.
not do that again. But we're also in a place where we kind of need a space again. I will say, just for those of you listening, I came and saw this with you the second time you saw it. You had seen it by yourself first. And when we walked in, we saw this room, which is now our podcast studio. And Madeline said, that's a perfect podcast studio.
Yeah.
Because you'd wanted to do a podcast
For years.
And this is like been a big goal of yours. And it is kind of a perfect little room for a podcast studio. Somehow it was very, very meant to be. So that was kind of a interesting little side note, but the space was speaking to you in very, very strong ways. It just was, you know, in your gut when you just feel like something's right and it doesn't necessarily make all the sense yet.
Yeah.
That's how it was feeling for you.
Yeah, it is that like scary calculated risk. And I saw a lot of spaces. I spent a few months looking at spaces, and this one we kept coming back to because it just like, it felt like the new chapter of my life. And it felt scary, but it was like, all right, we're going to make this work. This is the new phase. This is where I want to work. And it's been really cool. Like you said, like, I feel like we're growing into the space and I see more growth happening here. And the biggest takeaway of that is like, you have to take messy action and you have to take some calculated risks.
Yeah.
Don't be stupid. But also, it's never going to feel like the easiest, perfect time or move. It's going to be scary. It's going to be like, oh, do I do it? Do I do it? And you have to take those leaps because here we are.
Yeah. We wouldn't be here doing this. Champagne Social wouldn't be a thing if if you wouldn't have taken that step.
No. And I think too, like, and we've talked about this a lot. Your space forces you to level up. Like your environment forces you into a new like realm. If you don't have anything you're working towards, you're not going to be motivated. You're not going to be compelled to keep going. You have to have those things that you are working towards and that like force you to level up. And I think your environment is so crucial to work in a space, to live in a space that you love and that you are willing to work for is so important. And you've told me that. We've talked about that a lot. So what's cool is I did my weddings and I was like growing Renée Social, but it was slow growth, which I was fine with. But I'm getting closer to the last wedding and I'm like, oh, this isn't growing as much as it should. I'm feeling a little worried.
Uh-oh, that anxiety's starting.
The anxiety is catching in. And we do the last wedding. That week, I booked 2 clients, 2 full-time clients.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden I was like, whoa, baby, I'm busy. And then I've booked 2 more since. And it's really, really cool how that timing worked of being ready for people and like putting in weeks, months of consistent content, consistent effort on the clients that I did have. And now I'm at a place where I feel really good with my client load. And I feel really proud of this business that I've built. And like, it's just unbelievably crazy how much has changed in me and in my life and my career in the last 6 months. And this podcast is such a dream. And I'm just really excited that this feels like another dream come true. Like it's a dream that I'm living out. And I'm super grateful for that.
And you deserve it. You deserve every bit of it. And you certainly have put in the work. And it's just cool to be a part of it and cool to see the way that it's all happened. And obviously there have been a lot of things that have happened that were so hard. And there will continue to be things that happen that are hard. But it's just, it's nice when you see things working for people who you really feel like deserve to have things working for them. And, you know, in general, in your life, as you watch people find success and you're thinking, oh man, I'm so glad. That's you and you deserve it. And I'm grateful that you're here too. And I'm grateful that you've found your way out of what was harming you and into something that not only isn't harming you, but it's actually really feeding into you in positive ways.
Well, thank you. It is really cool. I think the shift that we've seen in me is really like, and that's really what I want to drill home today is like, if you are feeling like you're in a space or in a job and it just, you feel bad, it is so important to listen to that. Because it is so easy and so normal to be like, well, I'm just going to stay because I know it and I've spent all this time. I think we do that with relationships too.
What do I say, babe?
The devil
it's
you know.
The devil you know, yeah.
Yeah, it's his go-to phrase. But it's so true. It's so much easier to just stay. And it's so much scarier to step out. And I think as I've shared this journey on social, and I hope that this is even more impactful to you to listen to the whole thing, people are like, they tell me how cool it is. And I think it's rare for people to say, okay, line in the sand, I'm done. Like, I'm not going to deal with that anymore. Like my health, my happiness, all the things is too important, but it is so cool what happens when you do draw the line in the sand and you follow it up with action to make the change that you want. And that's what I'm living out now. And I set out to make Renée Social Studio a business that empowers and works with women-owned businesses, women creators, women entrepreneurs. And it's so cool that I work with them every single day and help make their dreams happen. That like just fills me up so much. And this podcast is an extension of that in a different way because like I said, spent so many years in business alone, like literally doing it by myself. And then thank God for you, because I stopped talking to myself. I had someone to talk to. But this community is me putting out what I'm learning in real time as I'm building this business, as I'm posting on social media, as I'm taking in all that's happening in the world and bringing in really cool people that are going to speak life into us, help us, equip us, and just like have fun. Like I want this to be a fun space because a lot of life and business is too damn serious. Like I want this to be a fun place, I keep you company, listen, feeling like you're on a coffee date, drink date, all the things with the girls. And Kenny's here today.
And also me.
Yeah.
Today. And the dogs today.
Yeah.
And sometimes they are distracting and sometimes
they won't be invited back for quite a while.
They're not going to be joining the Champagne Social anytime soon.
No.
Nor will I, sounds like. Right?
We'll see what the people say.
We'll see.
I think you did great.
Thank you.
So let's close her out. Any last words from you, Kenneth James?
No, I think I've said plenty. I was just here to hype you up and to stand on business.
Well, I appreciate you all so very much. We will see you next time for more things.
And you know what they say in broadcasting?
I don't.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Toodles. Toodles, tuts.